we've gone through the legal routes. We've gone through, every route that we thought would potentially get him out. We never thought he would be in there a fraction of how long he's been in there. And it's only getting worse. And so, we've somewhat run out of those options. And now we've decided, okay, the only route is to, of taking action is to come and speak publicly. And I think, I appreciate you for allowing us to speak here about it. What we want is international pressure on Pakistan right now, because currently he's living in inhumane conditions. They're not giving him basic human rights. They're not really doing anywhere near enough, and what we want is global pressure.
Yeah, I think we've, like Qasim said, we've tried, we've exhausted other options, legal avenues, and it's gone very quiet. It seems in the international media, at least, it seems to have gone very quiet. And it's basically for the human rights of not only our father but other political prisoners, and restoration of proper democracy in Pakistan as well. Aside from our own obvious selfish reasons. So we're very grateful to Richard Grenell for all the support he's shown, and I've seen his tweets. No, we haven't had any contact with him. I think there's definitely parallels in the kind of the lawfare and the way he's been targeted. And yeah, I understand the comparison. So I think that's definitely a fair characterization when it comes to Pakistani politics. 100%, they're false charges, trumped up charges. Anyone who looks into it a little bit can kind of see that. In terms of a message to the Trump administration, we'd call for any government that supports free speech and proper democracy to join the call for our father's release, and especially the most powerful leader in the world.
I mean, I completely agree. I mean, what we want is just the international community to look at what's going on and hopefully take action. And who better than Trump to gain the attention of? So, we'd love to speak to Trump or try and figure out a way where he would be able to help out in some way, because at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is free our father, bring democracy in Pakistan, and just ensure he has basic human people. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where our father never wanted us to be in politics. We were never interested in it anyway, and so it made sense to just live a more quiet life, and that was a good element of living in England, is that we didn't have to live quite so much in the public eye. But I remember very vividly where I was when he got arrested. I was about to give, at the time, the biggest speech of my life for my startup, for Mifu, and I was about to get on stage and speak to about 100 people. And as I was preparing for it, it was about an hour and a half before, my business partner, I see him go pale, and he shows me his phone, and I see that he's been arrested. And at the time, we have quite a thick skin with this kind of stuff. We've seen him get shot. We've seen him get arrested multiple times. We've seen him, he's sat us down and told us he's going against mafias in Pakistan. We're quite used to this kind of thing. So when it happened, frustratingly, I remember I saw it, and I just thought how trivial my speech is, even though it was the biggest speech I could possibly give at the time. And I went up, and I my head was in the clouds, and I fluffed my lines, but we ended up doing okay. But what really stuck out is, at the time, even though it shook me, I had no concept of how long it would be. I really thought it would be a couple of months maybe maximum. But this time, it turned out it's nearly 2 years now, and he's been in solitary confinement the entire time. So yeah, it's been pretty brutal. These have been arrested. Our cousins have been arrested. Some of them in prison still, and it's there's obviously a high threat. If we go, we provide a potential weakness for our father, another way where they can potentially get to him. And so he was always quite worried about us coming during the height of tension, because he was worried, when they're desperate and they're pulling out all of these random, ideas, you never know what they might do. But we've obviously thought about it.
I would say just respect respect democracy in Pakistan, respect the kind of the people's clear choice, which anyone who has looked into the previous general election can see. They weren't allowed to stand. Our father's party, PTI, their candidates had to run as independents, and they still won the most, and let alone all the other ways they tried to obstruct the democratic process. They still won the most seats in the National Assembly. So it's pretty clear who the people's choice, the party that is the people's choice, and the leader that they've chosen as well. So I would say respect the choice of the Pakistani people.
Exactly. And when you're saying the techniques they used during the last election, in a country with a 40% illiteracy rate, they banned his symbol, which is the bat, which the cricket bat is obviously synonymous with him. Very easy for anyone to be able to see who they're voting for. They banned it in the days leading up to the election, meaning that a huge proportion, 40% of the country, weren't able to know exactly how to vote for him. So as well as that, there was clear rigging, the most obvious rigging possible. They banned Twitter. They turned off internet for periods. It was, the rigging is so